courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Where's the Love. I am your host. I am Stephanie Hockenholm. Joining me is my co-host, my son, Gene Williams.
Hey, I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. What's going on? How you doing, ma'am? How you doing, ma'am?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm good. You sound stopped up.
I am. I sat
Mm,
outside 2 days this week with kids, and that
yeah,
first day I came home coughing and sneezing, and I was like, uh-oh. And then,
yeah.
of course, the next day it was worse. So I love sitting outside, but on my balcony. And usually when I do that, I'm working. I'm usually on my computer. But
Yeah.
at work, they wanted to go outside. So we went
Mm.
outside 2 days in a row. And this is what happened.
Yeah, right. Man. All the
So,
sacrifices you make for children's.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, I am stopped up.
Yeah.
Allergies, coughing, sneezing. Anyway, if you are here, thank you for joining us. You can be watching us at a number of places right now. We're doing live on our YouTube channel, Love Misunderstood Institute. We're also on my personal page, Stephanie Terrell Hockenholm. Um, and then we're also on Love Misunderstood Institute Facebook page. We're on LinkedIn, Stephanie Hockenholm. And we're also on TV right now while we're doing this show. All the places that I just named, you can go back to those places and watch the show. But if you're watching us right now live, you can watch us live on Roku or Amazon Fire. Um, and when you go to those, just search PODTV space LIVE, and you can watch us live right now while we're doing this show. On our
Oh
YouTube
yeah.
channels, you can watch us on Love Misunderstood Institute, or you can watch us on Premier Fitness 0210. So, and also on the website podtv.tv, you can go there anytime and pull up our shows and watch them. All of those places you can go to and watch our show.
So
So,
check us
our,
out.
yes. um, and our primary education is bullying, but we have done a lot of education about narcissists. There's such thing as narcissistic bully. We did a number of shows on narcissists, very detailed. Now we're
Hmm.
doing very detailed, a lot of information on gaslighting. And if you don't know what gaslighting is, Gene, tell them what gaslighting is.
So how can I explain this effectively? Um, Gaslighting is when you basically manipulate reality. You, for instance, a good example, I like to use examples, is like, saying something to a person, that is not true, and then the person refutes it, and it's like, no, it is. You try to argue to alter reality, or you, uh,
You manipulate them into thinking that the way they're thinking is nothing. Oh, you just
right,
taking things too serious. You taking things the
right,
wrong way. But
or
ultimately,
you,
you said whatever it is to put them down and to belittle them.
right, and they realize and they call you out on it, and now you was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. Well, I mean, that's what you said, and that, well, I didn't say it like that. You taking it too far. You
Yeah,
overreacting. like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Or the opposite way. You do something to like it's multi-layered gaslighting, which is why, I had to think about exactly how I want to say it. Like,
Hmm.
you can do the opposite. You do something jacked up, and then, the person is like, no, you're doing this, and then you displace that and project that onto them. No, you did this. Basically doing the same thing, telling, basically accusing them of the thing that you did.
Right.
Um, Man, like I said, it's so multi-layered and multifaceted. Unfortunately, um,
Yeah, so that's
you
enough
can even
explanation. They can go back and watch the other shows. I just wanted to give them a little bit about it, so they can understand what it is. Uh, excuse me. You want to give them a recap of
right
last week's show?
for sure. So on episode 105, I cannot believe we've been here that long, but it's awesome. So
Yeah, this is 106 though.
well, I'm,
Oh,
I'm yeah, yeah, right.
I want you to share. Sorry, I didn't think about that at first because you could have been doing it. Would you share your page, your Facebook
Uh,
page?
for sure.
Okay. So while you do that, I'll go ahead and start. I'll do the recap, and then maybe by that time. Sorry, I wish I would have thought about that before I start talking about where to look for us. So here's a recap of episode 105. We gave you more reasons for what could happen if gaslighting is not addressed and how it can lead to significant and lasting harm across multiple areas of a person's life. We also talked about how ignoring gaslighting doesn't make it go away. It allows its effects to deepen and spread. It can lead to various life hindrances that extend beyond immediate emotional or psychological harm. Also, gaslighting can derail nearly every facet of a person's life if left unaddressed. Unaddressed gaslighting creates a cascade of negative effects that hinder every facet of life, creating a cascade of challenges that hinder overall well being. The longer it goes unchallenged, the more entrenched its impacts become, perpetrating cycles of doubt, dependency, and harm. So, recognizing and addressing gaslighting is crucial to break free, reclaiming independence, and fostering personal and emotional growth. Addressing gaslighting is not only about stopping manipulation, but also about reclaiming control, building resilience, and unlocking a future filled with potential fulfillment and healing. So, Gene, you want to do that next part, or you
I'm
want to
sorry, I
add
was
anything to what I?
no, no. Where are we? Because I
That's
just
all
was
right.
able to find and share it.
So, your life deserves.
All right, your life deserves clarity, joy, and authenticity. Addressing manipulation isn't just about ending harm, it's about creating a future where you thrive. Healing begins with acknowledgement. Your journey to empowerment starts with confronting manipulation and embracing your truth.
Yeah. So the information that we share is to educate you about gaslighting and the things that it entails. We also give you the tools to overcome, to deal with it, to recognize it, just like with bullying, to recognize it and to be able to handle it. What do I do with this? Now that I realize this is what it is. So we give you those tools. We give you the information, give you the tools to help you navigate through those experiences because it is difficult. I mean,
Mhm.
especially when you don't know what the heck is going on. Now we're giving you that education. So now you know and understand what you're going through, and you also know how to deal with it.
Right.
So that's what we do. You want to go ahead and go, or you want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and with gaslighting, it's like once you finally realize that that's what's going on, you know, then you're able to address it well. But without the knowledge and the tools, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it really difficult. And this is it not only spans interpersonal interactions with people, but it also what within the show is this is across all levels like business, the way that the government operates and whatnot. The government gaslights. I mean, if we talk about gaslighting, we can look at marketing and advertising, things of that nature. Like it's this is a tool that's used and has been used for a long time before we even had the terms to identify
Yeah.
what gaslighting is.
Yeah.
Um, this is just a part of how, unfortunately, people interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it, yeah. So, do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah. Please.
All right. So again, like I said, not only is gaslighting used interpersonally, but it's also can be used culturally in societally. So cultural and societal gaslighting, the definition is it occurs when social norms or institutions invalidate certain groups' experiences, often based on gender, race, or class. For example, within the workplace, women being dismissed as too emotional for voicing concerns, and also as it pertains to social justice. Marginalized groups being told that their experiences of discrimination are exaggerated. I mean, that is, for instance, us as quote unquote blacks, African Americans, these are all terms that are used by outsiders to, I guess, identify us. Um, and then we just virtually accept it. But yeah, as it pertains to like, the violence that we deal with as quote unquote black people in America, the marginalization, how we get paid less than, our European counterparts or even, and also our neighborhoods are defunded, we live in mass in food deserts where it's hard to find nutritional food and things of that nature. Like it's actually layered as it pertains to like the social aspect. Like I don't even want to necessarily go into super details about how black folks and Mexican as well
Mm-hmm.
are placed in situations where like they lack uh, resources that everyone else has ready access to.
Right.
Um, and this is like so when it pertains to racism, I think this is important. Um, like we hear people say if you say you don't like this group of people or I question this group of people, oh you're racist to like black people and Hispanics, and things of that nature. But like racism itself, if you look up the term, it means to control and manipulate how people operate from an institutional standpoint. And we actually don't have, as black and brown people, quote unquote, don't have institutions uh, to cause racism, which racism limits how a person is able to live. We don't have the capabilities to control institutions, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but there is a whole system that continuously and has made a history of keeping black and brown people, down. I mean, there's so many layers to that right there,
Mm-hmm. That's good.
and we don't have time to go deep down that rabbit hole. We'd be here forever on the first line. Like seriously, oh man. Um, it's important to understand like the terms we operate with certain common terms that are thrown around, racism, classism, things of that nature. Like we need to understand from a deep level, like what those things actually mean.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and culturally, gaslighting is a major thing. Like, you see, for instance, you go back to, I think it was 1991. I can't remember the brother's name, but he got, beat down in LA, by the cops. It was live on television. They had, and it was, and then you hear people say that, oh, it was dramatized, or, oh, well, he deserved it because he did X. Like, no one deserves to get beat down like that.
I
You
know who you're
know,
talking about too.
yeah. What is his name? I know it starts with an R. I can't
Rodney
think of it
King.
right now. Rodney King. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually, so before the meme culture, like they made a meme out of him. Can we just all get along? Like
Yeah.
this brother was being within an inch of his life, and then the culture, like we talk about culture in this day, the culture made fun of him and created, you know, again, it was prior to memes, just colloquialisms where it made fun or made light of, his situation. And this is the par for the course of gaslighting.
Yeah.
Like you saw this brother get his he got his butt kicked by
Yeah.
multiple cops. One brother, and I think it was like 5 or 6 cops on one person. And
Yeah.
now we're gonna make fun of this brother. You know what I mean? So that's gaslighting as it pertains to societally. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's par for the course.
Yeah.
You know, you make light of something and you don't experience it. Like for instance, and I have race. All again these terms. Um, you know, so-called white people, make light of like what happened, and this is just a story in that time frame of things that have transpired across history in America in particular and across the world, grand scale. But is made light of. Oh, well, if y'all just do this, you just get educated. Well, I mean, literally we created what you know now as education and
Yeah.
science. And if it wasn't for us, and we had a conversation, Danica and I had a conversation with a so-called white woman when we went to the Baha'i temple.
Yeah.
She brought up how the Moors, now she said Muslims, I try not to argue with people about things. She said Muslims, but they were called Moors, actually like helped civilize European people. If it was not for like what the Moors did in those countries in Europe and Rome and things of that nature, like so-called white people would still be living in their filth. You know, like we taught them how to clean themselves, how to cook their food. We also taught them sciences, astronomy, astrology. You know, but they try to make us seem like we're less than
Yeah.
in this day and age. You know what I mean? So, and they also another major gaslight, if you really think about it, is the advent of uh, how they stripped us of our true nature through slavery.
Yeah.
Um, how they historically have eliminated information about how black folks or whatever you want to call them across the world, we are the originators uh, of the world. You know, um, if it was not for so-called black folks, there would be no government, there would be no astrology, there would be no mathematics, science, none of that. But they make us seem less than in the way that they tell history.
Yeah.
And if you go back in history and look at things like how they literally would take over African libraries and burn down all of the entire library to keep information uh, not
Getting
accessible
out.
to people. Yeah, so like really, if we look at American culture and European culture across the world, like it's a major gaslight. It's a major gaslight. We gave you what you're now using against us as a tool, and now you're gonna erase, how you
History.
got that information. Yeah, it's like
Yep.
a major gaslight. It's a major gaslight.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
So let's move on from there. Are we at the education point?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
education. So I'm going to address how systemic gaslighting perpetuates inequality and erodes trust in institutions. It's kind of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
The explanation is this occurs when societal norms dismiss or invalidate the lived experiences of marginalized groups, creating systemic gaslighting.
Yep.
So, for the first tip for education, use historical and current examples like denying systemic racism. It's a whole system and it's also institutionalized, or invalidating women's workplace concerns. Like women, by and large, have been way underpaid and usually have way more information and knowledge and experience than their male counterparts. And then, we could break that down into black women and, I mean, you can break that down. There's a lot of ways to break that one down. Um, also, we should encourage open conversations about unconscious bias and privilege.
Yep.
So an activity that you can use is you can create role play scenarios to practice responding to dismissive comments with assertive yet respectful communication.
Mark made a couple comments here. So he said
Okay.
not the inequality. And then he also said, you mean like how they gaslighted us that Jesus was white? One of the films
Oh,
just and he said one of the films just talked about that. And he
hmm.
also said, how have you copper skin and hair? How you have copper skin and hair of wool. And that's what
Right,
the scriptures,
right,
how it describes
right,
Jesus.
right. But then you, and so if I'm sorry. I'm a history buff. I freaking love history, especially spiritual history. But so if you look at early depictions of Jesus, like he was like black skin,
Yeah.
either with a big afro or long locks. Um, Also, there are pictures of Jesus as a child. He so the funniest thing is like when I saw it, it reminded me of Gianna, a little darker though,
Hmm.
with the afro, you know what I mean? Like, and even so, if we go back to like France and Russia, you go to their temples, they have several depictions in paintings and in sculpture form of in Russia fascinated me. They have the Black Madonna and Child pictures and statues all over their temples, but only in America where do do they? And I mean, so the image of white Jesus started with Leonardo da Vinci, if I remember correctly, and it was his cohort and come to find out his lover, Caesar Borgias, who was the depiction of white Jesus. Um, and then they pushed that image forward and just added details over the years to further perpetuate that. Uh, Man, it's crazy because again, like Jesus was a dark skinned brother. Like even
Yeah.
even the way they depict him, even Solomon, like one of my, one of the famous biblical characters. It says in the Bible that his skin was ruddy.
Yeah.
Ruddy means dark red, like clay.
Yeah.
Who else is red like clay? Come on now,
Yeah.
come on now. But this is historical gaslight.
Yeah.
They put out this information that's in the text that they constantly push forward, but then they try to twist and manipulate how it's seen by the masses. Um, and that's the craziest thing. Like, you're telling us one thing in the scripture, but then you're showing us a different image.
Yeah.
And that's the gaslight.
Yep.
That's the gaslight.
Yep. And the
Like,
scriptures say
wow.
there's nothing new under the sun. So gaslighting
Right.
didn't just start. It's been going
Right
on,
now.
for
Yeah.
years, but
Yep.
now it has a name. And it
Right.
probably had another name before gaslighting, but in this day and
Right.
age, we see it as and call it
Right. Right.
gaslighting. So,
Right.
and then like you just shared, biblically, it happened, in the Bible. So,
Hmm.
again, there's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing
But
new.
yeah. So
And one of the I was gonna say
go
this
ahead.
real quick, and I'm gonna leave that point alone. But one of the things like they speak of um, another biblical character. He was dark as the tents of Kedar. And if you look up like the tents of Kedar, that means blacker than black. You know, so it's just like wow, you have all of these uh, descriptive, adjectives and adverbs to describe the people of this particular uh, tribe,
Mhm.
and but then you depict them, you know, for the masses as what's the
Something
term?
else.
Aryan. Yeah, right. Yeah, like like white skin. Like, wait a minute. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Wait a minute. Come
Yep.
on now.
It just shows how people twist stuff to make it fit their narrative. So
Hmm. Yeah,
so let's go on to number 2,
right.
gaslighting and digital spaces. You want to do that or you want me to?
For sure. All right. So first we have cyber manipulation, gaslighting through online interactions such as misinformation or invalidation of opinions in social media debates. For example, a person being told they misread an offensive comment, even when it's clearly documented. I mean, it's right there in front of you. You said this, and now I misread it. No, it's right there for everyone to see.
Right.
uh, the education point, teach digital literacy to recognize manipulative online behavior and set boundaries in virtual interactions. And that's also a good time to block a person. Or if you don't want to block them, just stop interacting with them. I mean,
Yep.
people are stupid. You can't convince people out of stupid.
Yep. and and they're not really your friends if they're doing stuff on your page that you
Right.
don't agree with or that you don't like. So what's wrong with blocking them and just getting them on out the way?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Instead,
say
some
do.
people would prefer to continue to look at what they're saying, and
Right.
maybe they don't even interact with them, but that stuff, um, it really deals with your mind when you keep reading it.
Right.
So why
Right.
keep putting yourself through that torture? Just get them out the way, block them,
Right.
unfriend them. Do whatever you need to do so you don't have to keep looking at their comments and
Right.
bringing yourself down. You have a choice here.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right. And and to me, it's like the deal is this. Like we have to understand that regardless of how you feel, you can't convince anyone to.
Right.
It's like you're trying to convert a person
Mhm.
from their thought process to yours.
Yep.
And you have to get to a point where you realize, is it really that important for me to convince them that my mindset is better than theirs?
Right.
Although I don't agree with theirs, and if it becomes offensive, then I can just leave you alone.
Yep.
That's the beauty of being digital. You can
Right.
digitally block that. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Block
Exactly.
them. You know what I mean? And keep it moving. I ain't
Yep.
about to go back and forth with you. I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you. Hey, hey.
Somebody on the dance floor.
you know? Oh man.
So are we on
Explanation.
explanation?
I got you. All right, so explanation. Online gaslighting manipulates perceptions through fake news, trolling, or discrediting. So, a tip for education in those type of times: teach digital literacy skills, such as verifying sources and recognizing misinformation. Highlight the importance of taking screenshots to document manipulative behavior. Encourage setting healthy boundaries with technology, including limiting exposure to toxic platforms. The activity here is let's conduct a workshop on analyzing and debunking false information in online media. Factual information in the information age is all over the place. So, it's easy to true up information. Okay, this is true and this is false. This is opinion. This is fact. Fact always matters more than opinion. I mean, now your emotions. We talk anyway. That's a whole other story. But if your emotions get caught up, when people invest emotionally in a certain thought process, and we need in certain situations, it's better to be logical and realize that let's be in this situation, let's be fact based. Now your emotions are important. I'm not dismissing your emotions or your thought process. However, this is factual, especially as it pertains to gaslighting. You always have to keep the facts the facts. The facts are the facts. They don't change. Now your feelings and your perspective, that's on you. I have nothing to do with that. But I'm bringing the facts to you. So let's talk factual information. Oh, you want to? Oh, well, I feel. Okay, well, you feel that, no doubt. I'm not dismissing that, but this is fact. This is fact right here. This stands the test of time. You're muted. I think we're having a little technical difficulties here.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm
Um,
about to text you like, Ma, we can't hear you. What you saying?
I'm sorry. So I was talking about gaslighting and family dynamics, and so parental
Okay.
gaslighting, parents manipulating their children's perception. Example: you're just being dramatic, or that did happen. And then what about sibling gaslighting? So one sibling discrediting another's version of events to gain favor or avoid blame. So the education point here is to highlight the importance of healthy communication within families to prevent generational cycles of manipulation.
Yeah.
So I want to stop here for just a second. So to say that when we don't deal with things the right way, it does cause generational cycles of bad behavior or manipulation, um, or even good behavior and patterns that are good. So we want to be careful um, to see this. Gaslighting is all around. It happens all around. So the education point is to I read that. So the explanation is families can perpetuate manipulation through invalidation or rewriting family history. So
See.
what kind of family history are you rewriting? Are you rewriting old stories? Are you rewriting bad behaviors? Are you writing loving behaviors? Are you writing, what kind of stories are you rewriting? You know, for your family and for the family's history, because generational, we call them generational curses, do continue throughout the, throughout your life and throughout generations until somebody say, "Hey, I don't like that," or "Hey, I'm not
Hmm.
going to continue that." So somebody
Right.
has to choose to break the cycle so that you don't
Right.
continue those generational curses. You want to
Right.
add something?
Definitely. So one of the things that like is always been, and you and I talk about this a lot, like secrets that families hold,
Yeah.
just to keep up a certain image of a certain person.
Yep.
Like to me, it's more important to tell the truth. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like we all make mistakes. We're not perfect.
Right.
You can make mistakes and make amends and do better. And if a person didn't do it, then that's a cautionary tale for the generation that's hearing that story.
Yep.
Hey, this person did this, and although they may not have been bad people, they did bad things.
Right.
Because I mean, a lot of us are. often victims of the cycles that were perpetuated upon us, and we have to give people grace, but still hold them accountable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm not about, oh well, because they didn't understand they're expunged. No, you're nah. We all make mistakes though, and I'm gonna hold you accountable for what you did. Like I'm gonna hold myself accountable. Um, but I realize that this cycle that this person perpetuated is not something that I want to continue
Right.
down my familial line. So you just create a change
Yep.
by being the example. You know,
Yep.
not just talking. 'Cause it's easy to talk. It's easy to talk, and I didn't like that, and da 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 da. But if you perpetuate it by doing it, then you're just part of the problem.
Yep.
So be part of the solution. I
Yeah.
realize that this is the issue, and I can't participate in this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak against this when I see this happening in my familial line. Hey, that's not cool. Don't do this. Um, Man, there's so many examples, across families when we don't speak about like molestation or, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that happens to people. And if you don't talk about it, then it perpetuates it because you're
Yeah.
trying to push something under the rug it's like an elephant. You won't be able to see it because it's gonna not only is it gonna affect the environment that you're in, this big old elephantine thing under the rug that you're trying to sweep under, and now it's been done to other people, and it just
Hmm.
did. So we got yeah. So it's imperative that you sit down and you talk about those things as a collective and address them, and then consciously as a entire tribe um, undo those chains. You have to unlock yourself from those chains. It's imperative, man.
Yep.
Because man, like abuse is familial. If you don't address it across familial lines, you saw your mother get beat up often, and I mean we've talked about this. I've seen you go through things, and then unfortunately I perpetuated the same thing by being the abusee.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like okay, wow, I didn't even realize that this was a part of my consciousness.
Yeah.
So I had to do the work to unbind that. And it took me, the craziest thing is if you look at it, like I was on the crux of 40 and realized, wait a minute, I'm perpetuating a cycle, you know, uh, that I saw growing up. But
Yep.
I happen to be the victim in the situation. It's like, wow, I don't want to go forward into my 40s dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
And I've tried to, address and and break the cycle within that relationship, the context of that relationship, and that person didn't want to do the work, and at the time you have to realize like, okay, so if I want my kids, for me it was like my kids, I want my kids to grow up in a household that's unbroken,
Yeah.
because that's what I wanted, growing up. And
Right.
I mean, you're provided that for, certain time, but when things break up, it's happening. It is
Right.
what it is. And we have to do what's ultimately best for the collective.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I did with my kids. My goal was to break that cycle. I'm trying to show you how it can be in a healthy manner.
Hmm.
But this alternate part is grew up with the abuse and is further perpetuating it. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? And I had my contribution. I'm not. I don't ever want to make it seem like I was perfect, but I don't lay hands on people. I may lay some words on
And you don't feel like they hands when I get through.
I'm telling you, you don't feel like you thumped on. You've been thumped on. I'm gonna tell you about yourself, and I'm gonna tell me about me too. And so for me, it's like it's free game.
Yeah.
You mess up, you get called out. I'm not exempt.
Yep.
I don't hold myself above anybody. If I mess up, hey, call me out. Or better yet, before you do it, I'm gonna call me out first. But if
Yeah.
you happen to show me, oh, you found out on something I didn't see, ooh, that was ugly. My
Yeah.
my apologies. I was in a bad place, and I will not. And now I'm cognizant of it. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So going back to one of the points that was made earlier, it's about acknowledgement, acknowledging that this is a cycle that you don't want to continue and pass on
Right.
down to your children. Um, and you just have to make those things. And sometimes it's gonna be ugly, man.
Yep.
Um, it's gonna be ugly, but standing firm in situations where you don't want to continue jacked up cycles across generations, you just have to make the sacrifice. You got to be the person who's like, hey, no, this stops here. It's not going forward. So,
Right. Just
and
stops
it can
here.
be hurtful. Yeah. And it can be lonely
Yep.
because you're going to be the only one who's like, trying to do something different and everybody wants to do what's comfortable.
Right.
Oh, that word became ugly to me for some years because that was what the person kept saying. I'm comfortable being this. I'm comfortable being, but it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. Like the only constant in life is change. So if you always want to be the same person over and over again, not question your approach to a situation and not grow from it, like then you're dead. You're dead because anything that's not moving, that's not growing, is dead.
Yeah.
Only death is stationary, and even death grows.
Yep.
Death and rebirth are equals. You have to die to yourself. I die daily, like Paul said. I die
Yep.
daily. I die to my ego. I die to the lower version of myself to become a better version on the next day. So when I go to sleep tonight, the person that I was on this day is dead.
Yep.
Now the person that I wake up to be is a different person because I've determined within myself. Bless you. I've determined within myself that I'm going to be a better
Thank you.
version tomorrow than I was today.
Right.
Um, and that's a person whose mindset is about true growth. Because you have to acknowledge, hey, man, listen, I messed up. I messed up, and I'm not
Yep.
above owning that. Anyway, I'm on. I'm gonna hop off this soapbox. For you. I'm gonna hop off the soapbox.
Ah, you're a hot mess. So,
A little
uh,
bit.
tips for education. Uh, oh, excuse me. I'm
Share
going.
sign. I got you. Share signs of parental or sibling gaslighting, such as rewriting events or refusing to acknowledge feelings. Teach conflict resolution skills to address issues constructively. Did you hear that term? Constructively. It's not about tearing people down. Hey, I didn't like that. Can we do something different? Encourage creating family agreements on mutual respect and communication. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Hallelujah. Hall-
Hallelujah.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
Stop it.
Yeah. I might have thought a hop off at here. We about to be filled.
Oh, Lord.
And the
So
activity
good.
is host a family workshop where members participate in practice active listening and validating each other's perspectives. Man, do you know how much that would heal people?
Yes.
Like to be honest. And so let's talk about active listening because this is important. Active listening is truly listening to understand. A lot of people listen to respond. That's
Yeah.
not active listening. That's
Yeah.
not active listening. You listen to understand the person's perspective and then speak from an understanding. That's why sometimes you'll see in certain books, maybe write down thoughts that you have. First off, write down what they said and how they feel, so you can address. You said you feel this way, and I understand, or I don't understand, but I respect. You do what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's validating their feelings by their feelings. And let's say that feelings are something that you can validate. Facts, like I said before, are facts. Period. What happened, what factually happened, is what happened. That's factual information. Now, feelings are different. You can validate a person's feelings and perspectives, and that's very needed. So to keep the fact, and when you have the family workshop where you practice active listening and you validate each other's perspective, you keep the facts, and then you address people's feelings and perspectives as that. This is your perspective of the situation,
Yeah.
and I hear you and I understand you. But the facts are the facts. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Now, how you feel about it and how you saw it is how you feel it is how you feel and what you saw.
Yeah.
So I think that's so important because in counseling, in therapy, there's a tendency for people to go overboard with the validation point. Um, if a person says that they felt something, you validate that feeling. But if they say that something that is uh, this happened and it's not factual, you can't validate that.
Oh,
This
you
is what
shouldn't.
happened. Right, right. You shouldn't. Um, this is what happened. This is cemented in reality. This
Yeah.
happened. Now, how you feel is how you feel, and feelings change over time. But you can't change what happened. You can't change
Yeah.
what happened. And
Yeah.
we need to like, man, hammer that point in. Yeah. Anyway, I got a whole nother, got a whole nother situation with that one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Let's move on to emotional gaslighting in relationships. So an
Did we
example of
finish?
gas.
Oh yeah, we
Yes.
did. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Emotional gaslighting in relationships. An example of gaslighting in relationships is blame shifting, making you feel responsible for their actions. Did you hear that? Making you feel responsible for their actions. If you weren't so difficult, I wouldn't have to yell. Hmm. Uh, I mean, you chose to. You
Right.
anyway, man. Listen. No,
You
I
chose
mean,
to, so don't blame me.
right, exactly. Your actions are your own. Take radical responsibility for your actions,
Yeah.
regardless of how someone else acted. If you did X, Y, Z, then that action is on you. How
Yeah.
you feel is on you. And man, if you hadn't, I couldn't say that. If you made me mad, I didn't have to yell at you though, and I
Yeah.
yelled. So my apologies for yelling.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, so withholding, refusing to engage in conversations, leaving you question the relationship's foundation. Oh, that's a huge manipulation right there. Don't ignore you. You right in the same space. You don't want to talk to me at all.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, we good or we not? So I'm sitting here, sitting on eggshells. Man, anyway, who got time for that? The education point here is let's emphasize the role of mutual respect and clear communication in fostering healthy relationships. The explanation is romantic partners may use gaslighting to gain control or avoid accountability. And generally speaking, those are one and the same.
Yeah.
Uh, so, tips for education discuss the difference between healthy disagreements and manipulative behavior. That's a major one. Teach participants how to set boundaries and communicate assertively and empathetically. I think is an important part as well. Encourage seeking professional help in toxic or abusive relationships. The activity here is to develop role-playing exercises to rehearse assertive responses to common gaslighting phrases.
So make sure I'm not on mute. Um, so the next one is gaslighting in the workplace. So, which I experienced a lot of this. But so it's subtle manipulation. A boss downplaying concerns. For example, you're just overreacting to normal stress. Favoritism as gaslighting. Gaslighting employees into believing poor treatment is justified due to their performance or personality. That is not cool.
Right.
Um, anyway, let me go on. Education point. Equip employees with tools to document incidents, report abuse, and advocate for workplace equality. So, and no matter, let me encourage you, no matter, um, how bad things are or how good things are. It's never okay to treat an employee badly and then to justify it, due to
Right.
their performance or personality. That's nothing good. And then you expect for their behavior and everything to be good in the future, but you put them down so they don't know what you're gonna do next time. They're constantly thinking, oh, they gonna put me down if I do this, or they gonna talk down to me if I do this. And so you're messing up more because you don't know, how they're gonna come to you,
Right.
and so you constantly have what happened last on your mind. And
Right.
so anyway, it's hard to function. It makes you anxious. um,
Yeah.
all kind
It's
of
just
things can happen, to
right.
you as a result of that.
Right.
So,
And that
Mark,
affects your productivity. When you're constantly on
definitely.
eggshells, you're constantly overthinking. So now the environment is created where you can make mistakes that you normally wouldn't make because
Right.
you're walking on eggshells because
Yep.
this person is gaslighting you. Now it's like, what's the real? Am I doing a good job or am I not doing a good job? And
Yep.
it's that constant back and forth that has your reality imbalance, and now it creates the opportunity for you to make mistakes, which perpetuates more gaslighting.
Yep.
See, I told you you're not a good employee.
Yep.
You messing up. A vicious
Yep.
cycle.
Yep. And then so Mark said way too much gaslighting in the workplace, or the person that tries to claim that your work is their work. I've had that
Oh
happen
man,
too.
yeah, me too.
You know. So um the explanation here, oh, did we do the education point? The No, we
No,
didn't. So
right. Yeah, yeah, you did.
no,
You
I
did.
don't. If we did, we're gonna do it again. So the education point here is to equip employees with tools to doc. Yeah, we did read it, but I'm gonna continue. Equip employees with tools to document incidents, report abuse, and advocate for workplace equity. So the explanation here is gaslighting at work includes undermining employees' confidence, rewriting events, or deflecting accountability.
Yep.
So here's some tips for education. Teach employees and leaders to recognize subtle signs of workplace gaslighting. Encourage keeping detailed records of interactions and incidents. We talk about that all the time.
Hmm.
Promote workplace policies that support fairness and transparency. And then an activity to do is to offer a seminar on creating an exclusive workplace culture where everyone feels validated. That's so important because when you feel validated, you do a good job.
Right.
If you don't feel validated, you don't do as good of a job, especially if you're operating out of fear, you
Right.
know. So I'm gonna let you read the next one. I gotta disappear for just a minute.
I got you.
Sorry.
All right. So number 6 is the neuroscience of gaslighting. The brain's response is important. Explain how prolonged exposure to gaslighting triggers stress responses, affecting memory, decision making, and emotional regulation. So, the education point here is to highlight the importance of mental health care and self compassion in healing from manipulation. You gotta pour back positive into yourself after you've been emptied by manipulation and toxic behavior. Um, the explanation here, gaslighting affects the brain's stress response, leading to memory and emotional regulation issues. So when you're constantly, again, gaslit, you are always going to be on eggshells, which is high anxiety and high stress, which is exhausting to the body. So it's important to address that. And the tips here for education, we explain the impact of prolonged stress on mental health and cognitive functioning. Also, encourage mindfulness and grounding techniques to manage stress. Promote therapy as a tool for healing and rebuilding trust in oneself. The activity here is to teach relaxation exercises such as deep breathing and uh, progressive muscle relaxation to help. participants regain calmness.
So I want to share something that I did for hours today and for hours yesterday. Uh, and now it's Jean's turn to disappear. But something that I did, and I forgot how much it helps and how calming it is to turn on. I love nature sounds and I love running water. So I found two, one yesterday and then another one today. Babbling brook videos. So you hear the running water and you hear the nature sounds, and it's just so calming. And so I listened to that for hours yesterday and today. So whatever calms you, go to that thing, and put that thing, whatever it is, in action. Utilize it to help you just stay calm. Um, and another thing that's so calming is sitting and watching fire in a fireplace or in a fire pit. Just watching the fire. I mean, I can sit there for hours and just watch and just think. And I'm not thinking about any certain thing, but those things are calming to me. And so I just wanted to share that, whatever if it is that calms you down, you know, listen to that thing. And a lot of videos that I listen to are, is a piano player with the nature sounds, and so I'm looking at the videos and the picture keeps changing. And so, hey, Pam.
Mhm.
And so looking at that, and that helps too. So whatever
Right,
it is that brings you calm and peace, listen to that, look at that, engage in that, so you can have peace, because gaslighting will tear you up, when people are gaslighting you. So the things that I just shared, the babbling brooks and the nature sounds, that helps you to relax. um,
right.
it helps you relax your mind. Sorry.
Let's
um, so anyway, I just wanted to share that. So you want to share
right.
some stuff that's coming for you? I
Yeah, for
mean, we
sure.
we do this
Right,
occasionally, so go ahead.
right. So yeah, so one of the things it kind of goes back to some things we talked about before, like the breathing aspect of it all. Like the first thing is you don't have to immediately respond to gaslighting. Actually, it's best if you don't. I would suggest taking like 5 deep breaths, like literally inhaling until your lungs are full, and then holding it there, and then exhaling all the negative. Like literally imagine yourself exhaling the stress, the anxiety, and then take that inhale again and fill yourself up with positive energy, and then hold it there for 5 to 10 seconds as long as you can, and then exhale and empty again any negative energy that resides, and still it's still a residual, and do that like I said 5 to 10 times before you respond to any situation of gaslighting,
Yeah.
um, because the thing you don't want to do is respond emotionally to a gaslighter. That's
Yep.
exactly what they want you to do.
Yep.
That's exactly what they want you to do. So you want to be as calm and almost as stoic as possible. Um, keep your responses short and succinct, very factual. Don't include emotions because they're going to use those emotions against you.
Yep.
That's their tool. That's their tool. Um, So again, you want to be uh, placid, placid as the babbling brooks that you listen to. You want your energy to be that placid,
Yeah.
where I'm just flowing, I'm existing, and I'm circumnavigating your BS by breathing and keeping myself calm and responding factually and keeping my answers short and succinct. Because again, the more you give explanations and show emotion and whatnot, they use it against you.
Yep.
So your tool against gaslighting is your peace.
Right. So I'm looking for, because I don't know why I can't remember. I don't have time to do it now. But there's a Thank you, Pamela. You can't respond to a thing on the same level of consciousness that it was
Right,
created on.
right,
So
right. You got to
when,
rise above.
yep. So when somebody's going all crazy, you responding back to them the way they said came to you is not gonna do nothing but start an argument. And who's calm? So
Right,
it's just gonna escalate because now I'm gonna outdo you because you made me feel this way. You said
right,
this to me and I didn't like it, so now I'm gonna outdo you. It's pretty much
right,
what's happening.
right,
Um,
right.
and who is that helping?
Insanity, inciting, insanity, inciting insanity. Bless you.
Sorry.
Yeah, you fine. No apologies.
Okay. So yeah, we have shared. We have more on this to share. More educational tips on gaslighting and the trauma associated with it and how to deal with it. Educational tips and explanations about the different kind of gaslighting. We have more on this. So next week we'll continue on this. Um, hopefully if you listen to the show or if you come back and listen to the show, make comments. We're willing to uh, respond to your
Converse with you.
comments because our goal is to educate you as we are educating ourselves because
Right,
this is important. We got to be able to fight back in the right way, and that's
right,
not a physical fight.
right,
So it's really a spiritual fight that we can't see. We can
yeah,
feel it, but we can't see it
right,
all. So
right,
it's a mind thing.
yeah,
Like you just pointed to your mind, it is a mind thing.
yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the show. I went a little bit over on purpose because I was talking to myself earlier, having it on mute. I didn't realize it was still on mute. I was trying to keep these sneezes and coughs out of the video. But thank you guys for joining us. And we will be back here next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching us from. Come back and watch again. We're live on a
Absolutely.
number of platforms right now. So come back and watch us. Like I said, comment, ask questions. But for now, we send you
And share
love.
your experiences.
Yes, we would
Yeah.
love for you to share your experiences. But we send you love. We send you peace. Hey. All right. Take care. Bye for now. Next Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.